There have been a lot of questions about what's happened with the medical board hearing and the medical board witch hunt, the little fishing expedition that they started back in 2005, and essentially the 8 charges that they filed me with all sorts of very egregious charges and allegations that we said years ago were completely false. In fact, I said publicly that if I was guilty of any one of those individual charges, of the total of 8 charges they brought against me, that it was the obligation, the fiduciary and the ethical responsibility of the medical board to immediately take my license. And of course they didn't. And I continued to practice medicine unrestricted all the way till the time that this fiasco has finally been put to rest. The medical board tried to bleed me dry. That's one reason they did the ex parte aspect. That's the reason that had to go through a second trial. I think it's curious that with all those allegations and all those charges, that not one single one of them is in the consent order. So the 2 things that are in the consent order, one, we agreed to a child that was prescribed TDD-NPS after proper and appropriate evaluation with blood work, urinalysis, with complete diagnostic stool analysis and organic acid testing. And until we had all that done, the child was not prescribed the TDD-NPS. The medical board has a policy that a child must be examined prior to being given a prescription item, and we did not examine the child here. Staff members send the TDD-NPS out, but that's been our policy because it's a transdermal cream that goes on. We've been using it for almost 10 years. I developed it. We know what the profile is. And that was never even an issue or a point of contention with any of the charges or allegations or complaints or anything. There was never anything about that. That was just something that they happened to find during their hunting expedition, during their wild fish, their witch hunt. The other thing was the consent form. Again, our consent form has never been a point of contention. I challenged the medical board to take us to court to show that there was ever any inadequacy with our consent form, and I'm still going to use my own consent form. They wanted to put some language together, of which I made sure that we didn't have any opposition to specific language, like our treatments were based on no evidence. If there was no way I was going to sign that, and we said we're going to go to court, and they changed the language, and until the language was satisfactory to me, it was not signed. So the consent form, in fact, it's so absurd that the consent form that the medical board wants us to use as an addendum doesn't even require a signature. So we're just going to put it in the back of our own consent form that patients sign every single time, not just once, but every time they come here for treatment. So those are the only 2 things on the consent order. It is a huge victory because all our treatments, or most of our treatments, are in the consent form. There's no restrictions, no penalties, no stipulations or anything. And it basically shows that, you know, where our tax dollars are going, that they waged a war with all these allegations. And interestingly enough, after 3 years since the allegations were made, not one single one of them is a point of contention anymore, and they've all been dropped, and everything is fine. So as far as our ability to practice medicine, it's never been restricted, it's never been amended, it's never been had any stipulations, and there was no way that I was going to agree to any of those things. In fact, I publicly stated that if the board wants to try to take my license, go ahead and take my license, but I'm not going to consent to restriction of any kind of treatment because we haven't done anything wrong. If anything, we have reset what the standard should be, and nobody can come close to what we've been able to do so far from the conventional conventional standpoint, as far as the conventional house is concerned. So I just want to make sure that everybody understands we are able to do exactly what we've been doing all this time, and I want everybody the people that have been supportive of us, the people that have sent us intentions and prayers and emails and letters of support and of appreciation. I thank you for that. My staff thanks you for that. And when we get those type of communications, then it's obviously well received, but it also makes it all worthwhile of having to deal with some of these challenges that we've faced with. I appreciate everybody's support. I really do, more so than you'll ever realize. And for the rest of the people out there that are detractors that go out there and, you know, basically spew nothing more than lies, that things that are just absolutely not factual on the internet. Apparently it says that my license has been restricted since 2007. We can't see kids. It's, you know, it's all hocus pocus. I don't know where they're pulling this stuff out of, but it's absolutely no truth to it at all. So for the detractors out there, get your facts straight at least. You just make yourselves look like idiots, and it's kind of embarrassing for you. But anyway, the rest of the world, I appreciate everything, and hopefully we will continue to, our creed, which is to make the change the world's waiting for, hopefully we'll continue to make a positive impact on that creed.